Welcome back to another episode of Aunt and Andrew, where family's everything.
Until it's not. I'm Aunt
And I'm Andrew, or Renee.
Renee. Why are you Renee?
Best friends, singers in parades.
Renee.
Aunt and I
What's
saw the best impersonator of a Barbie type character singing horrible songs in a rainy Halloween parade.
Yeah, it was great. But
and it gave us laughs for hours.
You want to know what was even funnier? I was talking to somebody who was also at the parade this week, and they said that she didn't like her because she was making moves on her man.
Really?
Yes. So I thought that was quite scandalous. But anyways, let's talk about.
Well, I thought it was a good entry point to the New York women.
But there is no
disasters.
Total disaster. We're going to talk about New York today. We're going to kind of just give
time.
Celebrate.
The end is near, and we do our final recap.
I was, we're just going to do a little recap of this because I really didn't like the show, as you all know.
Neither
did I. It became 14 episodes of recalling their childhood trauma at the end of the day. This was the biggest part of this season, was recapping childhood trauma, and whose trauma was worse.
Well, do you think that that's not a good way to introduce people to like who you are?
No, show me who you are now. I don't care who you were 40 years ago.
Yeah, but I think who Brynn is now is impacted her about her childhood. I agree. I think with Sai in the same way.
Yeah, but you know what? Show me who you are first, and then tell me about your childhood, like Ramona did. We knew Ramona. She was all this, that, and the other thing. And then it was like the 4 or 5.
I don't want to talk about Ramona today.
No. But it was.
Let's not talk about Ramona today. You want to talk about Ramona?
4 or 5 seasons.
What do you think about her text to Page 6?
Oh, I didn't see it.
She got kicked out of BravoCon. She's not going this weekend.
Oh, poor Ramona. And she probably had her face done and her boobs
Vanity
lifted.
Fair published the article about what's gone on with Bravo.
Oh, okay. The one
and
with
they mentioned
Leah.
how she, and then they mentioned how she had used the N-word.
Oh.
And she wrote a note to Page 6 because they reached out to her for comment.
Oh.
And instead, what she said is, you have it wrong, so you need to change it. This is what Ramona said to the person at Page 6. Or is the Post? I don't know. It was the Post or the Daily News. No, it was the Post. It was Page 6.
It was probably Page 6.
And she said, I said and then she put in quotes, the N-word. She goes, I didn't say, and then she wrote N-I-G, star.
Oh, so she said the N-word, not.
Yeah, like if she would be
word.
Like, say something
she
of
said,
I don't
N-word.
know how she used it, but she said
it
the
would
N-word.
be like if she said.
But then when she was correcting it to the newspaper, when she really she spelled out half of the real word. Like she could have just said, I actually said, and then put in quotes
the N-word instead of the actual word.
Instead of the actual word. Like I'm not using the N-word right now as a way to code it. What I'm telling you is what came out of my mouth was specifically the N-word, not So she really shot herself in the foot. And from what I was told, they didn't even tell her. They just removed her from everything.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's how it goes. But, we didn't find out that she had childhood trauma until we were into like year 4 or 5. And I would just like you to show me who you are first. And then you can backtrack and say it was, your horrible upbringing. I just felt like I found out way too much about their backgrounds, and I needed more about how they live now.
I'm going to tell you why I think that they did that was because of how diverse the cast was, and because their childhoods were also different and diverse, and because of the fact that it has played into who they are. Whereas when we met those original women, as much as they were all kind of different, obviously they proved to be with personality and interests and all that stuff, a lot of them had the same here and now. It was very similar, and it was just affluent, rich, multiple homes. Kind of women. Whereas because this cast, they went in a different direction, clearly, they, I think, have to explain more around their backstories. Because like Brynn, if Brynn didn't have a traumatic childhood, I think my opinion of who she is would be so different.
Yeah, but that's taking in that people are victims and
She is a victim. Brynn. She was in diapers for 5 days. Like, that's important to
No,
know.
I understand that, but she overcame her victimhood by being successful. And so keeping your mindset in I was a victim to me doesn't work. You were a victim and you got out of it, and now you should remove yourself from the victimhood because now you're a survivor and now you succeeded. And to me, keeping that victimhood tagline with you only further suppresses you to a degree where she should be like Oprah. Yeah, I had this, and the other thing growing up, but look at me, I'm successful. I don't know. I'm just not into all
But
this
she's not
victim
Oprah.
stuff. She's not Oprah. Well, not yet. You don't know.
No, and I also think that Jessel made that. Like, I think Jessel's storyline of trying to connect her uncle being an alcoholic with Sai's mother, with her trying to say she lived with her, lived with the uncle, and it was so tough for her because she had to commute from New Jersey for an internship. That I think
is tough. That's not easy.
No, but like there's
The
levels of
terrible.
there's levels of resilience, and obviously that's one that I mean, I just think that their stories needed to come back out to the forefront because unfortunately they had other cast members, and it's just odd how this works. Like, you don't see Erin, like the white girl, being like, I had an uncle that did this. Like, you have the other, like, it's like they're in it's like the marginalized communities are in a battle of who's had a worse, harder experience.
Yeah, well, I thought they were all too much into, because I could have taken a lot more this season of them out going to bars like the other ones did. I don't know. This was just such a different season. And like we've said a million times, they shouldn't have renamed it The Real Housewives of New York, because to me, they didn't exhibit really any of the city. It's not like we saw them again and again. We had weeks upon weeks upon weeks upon weeks of Anguilla. And I just would have liked, well, you know what I mean? It seemed like they were in
No,
Anguilla
I think
forever.
that the show's boring and it's not entertaining, but it's just, they spent the same amount of time at Erin's and the same amount of times at Anguilla as every other season does on their trips. The difference is the other people have fun and we enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, they don't ever have fun. I mean, I could watch see, here's the thing. I could have watched Sonia Morgan entertain a plumber who came to fix her toilet all day because she made it interesting, and these girls never had it. I think because they're younger, they have so much social media savvy that it makes them too subconscious. Where the first Housewives started before social media was a thing, and they weren't so concerned about their image, and I think it's affecting the reality stars moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ubah came out of her shell. Like, I think Ubah's great TV.
Yeah, and I found her Connecticut guy. He's German. His name is Oliver Daschel, and he's an investment banker. I just wanted to say that.
But also, like, she just was so unhinged during the finale and during both reunions.
Oh yeah, she was
that, like, I want her to bring that energy all season,
all the time,
because I don't know why you're trying to hide your boyfriend. I don't know why you're so worried about your family and your phone, because you literally walked out on set for the reunion and you should have worn a shirt that said, I am mentally unstable and I can't wait to spend the day with you, because that's what she showed all day long.
Okay, but I want to tell you, I have a theory on the phone now. Now that I know that she was starting to date Connecticut guy, it was really because she wouldn't be in touch with Connecticut guy, and it was a new relationship, and they probably text or talk all day long, and the idea that she wasn't going to be able to text or talk to him gave her major anxiety, even if it was 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever. And then when she probably got back the phone, she was probably texting little Oliver and was like, hey, what did I was afraid we couldn't talk to you. And then it steamed. I think it was the boyfriend was new, and it was her only way of communicating with him. That's my theory.
I think that
that's why she went crazy.
Well, yeah, I think so. But also, like, this is where I find, like, why this wasn't said at the reunion. I would have just been like, listen, Ubah, I've apologized if I was Erin, but I would have been like, my recommendation for you the next time someone you like that you can't find something, and you're with like a small group of friends or your family or with Connecticut man, it doesn't matter. Let everyone that's around you know in the moment right away, I can't find my phone. Can someone help me? And be open about why it's so important to you. Because for some people, a phone isn't that big of a deal for an hour going away,
Right.
especially at
Yeah.
night on vacation.
Right. Totally. Get it.
And for others, I can see why it would be a big deal. Now, the other part is too, is that if I was Ubah, the only thing I would say would be, now I have to ask you something. Would you ever take Jenna Lyons' phone? Because I don't think
Oh
you
yeah,
would.
you wouldn't have. I
Because
agree.
you'd be afraid that she'd be having Anna Wintour calling her.
Agree. And I thought Jessel came off well in the reunion.
Well, I love
mostly
Pavitt,
because
so that's why
she,
I
do
her.
too. Mostly because she maintained her cool no matter what. And she didn't really, she really
so?
didn't. And I felt that I had a new understanding where she said she had 5 IVFs and then she had twins. So, it took a toll out of her body because twins really, it's hard to bounce back from that. And then when she got the ugly lingerie, I mean, which wasn't flattering, let's face it, like it or not, it wasn't. I think her body image was poor and she was seeing herself on TV and with these women. And I think it made her very self-conscious. And I think that's why she was very guarded in the beginning. And she should have talked more about the fact she was having postpartum and stuff. But
That's
what we don't realize is that she lives in a culture where she didn't even tell her mom that she had IVF.
Yeah.
So she was trying to hide
these
she was trying to hide these little tiny secrets that at the end of the day don't mean anything, but they're kind of a privacy HIPAA concern for her, where she hadn't told her mom. And so she was even more self-conscious. So she wasn't really hiding her body. She was really hiding the fact she hadn't told her mom the truth. See,
okay,
and it transferred itself. That's my
message
opinion.
to Jessel is that you need to get everything on the same page before you go on a reality show.
Yeah, totally. But
because
some people don't realize that.
I would have right when I don't know how it was brought up. Was it someone said something to her about having sex, or she just came out with the information? But what I would have done is I would have either answered with a lie, or I would have told a lie, and then I would have told Pavitt, like, hey, just so you know, I told the girls that we bang all the time. Now I know you and I have to work on that, but I'm never going to come out on TV because I have X, Y, and Z that I don't want out there.
Right. Yeah, totally.
He would have gone along with it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't think that he's the only one I really liked in the whole show.
I kind of liked all the husbands. They were fine.
No, I couldn't stand Abe. Sorry.
Why?
I don't care for him.
But what other reasons? You have to have a reason.
I thought he was posing for the camera. He's a poser.
But what? Give me an example of him posing.
Every time he'd show up when the cameras were in the house, and it was the way he'd wander into the room. It just annoyed me. And I don't like that he's looking for a swinger. What can I say?
Oh, so it's personal.
I'm just saying. No, I don't know. There's just something about him.
I'm just saying.
He just reminds me sort of a tool. I don't like tools, and he's a little toolish for me. That's all. I find him a tool. I do agree with Jessel completely. They were all way too invested on his Vietnam trip to the detriment of them. And I wouldn't say that even the reunion helped any of their images.
Here's the thing. I think that these women, and I think that's why I feel like Bravo knows how this works. Like, if you look back, even some of the more, like some of the franchises that were brand new.
Yeah.
Which, like, when a franchise is brand new, I believe you should be looking at, like, I think the numbers would be even less than what we saw for this if it was brand new. But I think that we have to remember a lot of these women, it's the first time they've ever been on TV. First time their husbands have ever been on TV. And also, it's not just about that part. It's the manipulation of the producers that you do trust until you don't. And so I think that the Jessel thing at the reunion was very much spearheaded by this idea that there came a point while filming the season that production kind of manipulated Erin and Sai into this idea that, like, your role on this show is to go after Jessel.
Oh, maybe.
And I think that also it leads me to believe that the editing was not in their favor.
Probably.
Because it seems as if they were, like, put up to make some snarky comments, but maybe their moment to moment with Jessel was not like that. Right. And what Bravo pulled from the footage was the snarky comments, the insults, and less of the actual relationships that they formed. And so maybe in their hearts, they truly believe, like, oh, no, we care about you. We didn't mean to do that. But what Jessel saw on TV is all she's going to remember.
Yeah, of course. That's all they're going to remember. I just don't think that any of their images were helped. And don't say they were never on TV. Jenna Lyons knows media. etc.
Yeah, but her image was fine the whole season.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Sai knows with being an influencer or big influencer.
Yes, but she records her own stuff, and the stuff that gets released is the stuff she puts out there, not everything that she films. She has control.
I know, but they are somewhat savvy. These girls haven't been under a rock for the last 40 years of their lives. That's all I got to say. They haven't been under a rock.
Producers just can be very convincing and very manipulative. That's all I can say.
I did like Jenna's jeans in that it was a big F-U. I found it. I found her jeans as an FU. That's how I found her jeans. I do not think she'll be back. Whether they want her or not is a different matter. I think she's one and done. That's my opinion.
I don't know, but she's definitely the Yolanda Hadid of this cast. Like, she's gonna be the one that like comes in, is really she's never gonna be a messy housewife, and so they have to. But I will say, I think it really depends on what direction they go in with casting. If they're gonna replace,
that's Olivia Foster, by the way.
What?
It's Yolanda Foster.
Whatever.
Her name was Yolanda Foster when she was in. I had to think about who's Yolanda Hadid.
Yeah, but I think she went back to afterwards.
Hadid. Yeah, she did, because he has more money. And the other one married a Catherine McPhee.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's why I said. But I know. I mean, so I call them their current names, whereas you call them their old ones, like Tamara Judge.
Yeah, I still call
versus Tamara Barney.
Tamara Barney.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Kim
you corrected me. I called her the right last name, and you corrected me.
Kim Zolciak too. Well, she's back to that.
Who knows?
So
she's back to that every other
week. I know, it's good that
It'll depend on how they cast, because if they decide to bring everyone back, I think Jenna will get an offer. If they replace people, I think Jenna's one of the ones they're going to replace, and I think it'll be a very amicable goodbye. But if unless they,
I can see Erin going too. I hate to say it.
Oh no,
no
way. No way.
All right, then just Jenna, because I can't see them getting rid of Ubah, and I can't see them getting rid of.
It. They're not.
Of
you
Erin.
Have to remember,
Brynn.
They want you to get to know these people. They're not going to replace half the cast.
No, but I can see Jenna Lyons being replaced. I can.
Yeah,
or her not coming back, because it's not a good fit for her. I can see her coming on for like a party or two, but it's not a good fit for Jenna Lyons. She's sort of boring. I hate to say it, but she is. And she's a little older and everything. And I don't know. And you know what I really hated? I hated when Brynn came out and said, "Hey, daddy." Ugh.
That's like her thing, though.
I get it, but that doesn't mean I have to like it.
No, but I think it shows the idea of the target audience they're going for. They're not looking to try to bring you in as a viewer on this show. They're not. That's not their goal.
I understand it, but do you really think a young 30-year-old likes that she calls him daddy?
I think that they understand.
I would have to ask somebody. Hey, anybody out there is watching us right now, if you're 30 years old and you're single and you live in a big metropolitan city, do you like the idea that she said, "Hey, daddy"? I thought it was nauseating. To me, she's so much more than what she's trying to portray. And that's why she mentions that she's this engineer and she knows about helium and all that stuff.
But I think we have to remember she's on a reality show. She's not like,
yeah, but
she's
not being, I don't think she's being completely authentic.
I think she is. I think you just don't like her.
No, I just think I don't mind her. I think she's a beautiful girl.
I don't know. How can she be that way all the time? On Andy Cohen. How can she be that way all the time?
I don't know. The camera's on. People are funny when the camera's around. I'm just saying. It should be interesting if they come back.
I mean, even if you show her like in candid photos at some of these big events that she's run into Andy at, like when I think it was at the New York City Ballet or like the opening or the Met, or no, it wasn't the Met.
She wasn't at the Met Ball. No.
I mean, they're going like, I think that I just think that you're not realizing that like there is power in being someone that like that just is. It's not the cup of tea I want to drink from, or you.
No, but you know what? They did subtitle Ubah and Brynn talking about finding a rich man. And she's like, well, Brynn goes, well, I don't care about that because somebody will be paying for my kids. Like, I'm marrying rich. And Ubah's like, well, I'm marrying rich too. And that compounded by it all. I don't know. It's just very superficial. What do you mean?
Jill Zarin, when Bobby died, Jill Zarin was flat out saying, like, she said she needed to marry someone that had money. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, but that's fine for Jill Zarin when she was widowed to say she wants somebody with money because she was used to someone with money. But these girls have never been married, and all they're looking for is a rich guy. Hey, listen, I got no problem with finding a rich guy. None at all. You can have the same problems
but
in
Brynn's
life,
had
rich
rich
or
guys.
poor.
All of her fiancés have
Yeah,
all been rich.
yeah. But it was the way she said it. She comes off as a user and only looking for a rich guy. And to me, that's a little distasteful. I'm just telling you, if the first thing you find about a guy, I'm going to use the example, Madison on Southern Charm could have married any single man.
You don't know how much money he has family-wise.
Okay, but he's a fireman.
So?
She could have married any guy she wanted, but she married the fireman. I'm just saying, if these girls went to find love, they might be happier instead of just trying to find the money. And I'm sticking with that.
You're just like so hard on them for knowing them so
no, I'm
like,
just
little
saying.
bit. Like
I'm just saying. That's
I'm
how
just
I
saying.
feel.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I feel like, look for love and hopefully he'll have money. And not look for money and hope you can love him. That's a sad life. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, like they're just whatever. I mean, Bravo
especially
has
if you're a
brand
successful woman and you consider yourself a successful woman, it should be, I don't need a guy with money. I got my own money. I'm only going to attract guys with money. I'm not going to attract a guy making $20 an hour.
I just don't care about them enough to even talk about them like this.
Okay,
like,
well, we're done talking about them.
Suck.
So we did a little recap of them. Andrew and I had a little argument before we came on because I was going to talk about the demographics and he told me not to.
No,
the
we
ratings,
can talk about them.
The ratings. And I just want to mention the ratings because they went on and on that this was so successful. And Andrew believes this is a whole new show and shouldn't be judged on its
That's
past
not true.
season.
What I'm telling you is that they are making those statements that it is so successful with the idea that they are considering it a new show.
Okay. Oh, and fine. Then if you're going to have a new show, call it a different name. But The Real Housewives of New York City, season 13, which was last season, premiered with 9,500 views. 9,500. No, 950. I'm reading my own writing. 959,000 views. And this first episode premiered with 675,000 viewers. And for the key demographics, it was down also. It was 0.28 of 18 to 49-year-olds, and it was 0.22 this year. So even though what they say, the finale was 841,000 for season 13, and this season 14 with the recast was only 500,000 watched the season finale.
That has no streaming though at all.
Well, but nothing the other included. One wasn't streaming either, and that was just a year ago. I'm just saying.
It was not just a year ago. That took over a year. That took, I'm not, let's see when that episode ended.
I'll go back and look, and I don't know when the last episode was, but I'm just telling you. So what was it? 2022, 21? You can look it up. So even if it's a year and a half, people have been streaming for a long time. The last episode was September
7th, 2021.
Okay,
but
so it was 2 years later.
Peacock wasn't even around then.
People are streaming more. I agree.
There wasn't a way to watch Housewives on a streaming then. There was only on demand. There wasn't Hulu. There wasn't Peacock.
Okay, so it may be different. Okay, maybe they have access to that. I don't have. I'm just telling you what I have. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that the Peacock, like Bravo has been obviously marketing Peacock so much that I think that has played a lot into it. I just think
probably, and people go back and watch old episodes and everything too.
I just think that we're comparing apples and oranges. They're not apples and apples.
Okay. Well, yeah. I didn't like the season, and I like the old apple better than the new apple. What can I say?
Of course, you're an ageist. We know that.
I just do think they were better women. What can I say?
I think that it's hard to.
Hopefully it'll be 2 years before we have to talk about this show again. How's that?
I think we also have to look at like the demographic, like the type of women that live in New York City.
Yeah, and I love New York City, so
I get it, but you don't live there.
No, I don't. But I love the women on the last season.
But imagine how many people do you hear just in general with big city, like New York's a different kind of city than even OC. Like you can't.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
you're in the city. So it's like if you decide you want to go move to New Jersey and start a family, or move to Connecticut and start a family, you're really not, unless you're Jessel and you're going to move cross country, but you're really not in the running then to be in the Housewives. So I just think that
I'm just telling you, I'm just going to tell you, the season was boring. And you know why? Because Ramona would have a time where she would put Avery in the cab by herself at 12 years old and tell her to go home. I mean, we didn't have any of those moments. That's all I'm saying.
I just think things have changed. Like,
I know everything is different. I want to go back to 2019, but it's never coming back again.
Yeah. I mean,
what can I say? All right. We beat this up. Listen,
I just think that it's going to be hard to get women.
You may never see us talk about the Real Housewives of New York ever again, or you might see us back in the future. What can I say?
I just think it's run its course.
Yeah, maybe that's it. And you know what? Maybe they'll find that recasting completely isn't the solution. And maybe this was their test to see. And you want to know what will be interesting is to see how the Real Housewives of New York going down on the island for the month or week or day or whatever it was.
I hope it airs.
Oh, you don't think it will now with Ramona?
I have no idea. It's bad.
Oh gosh, I still want to see the season with Carolyn Manzo and Brandy Glanville.
Oh, yeah.
I want to know what happened. That's been so under wraps.
Could you imagine? I bet they never do one of these trips again. If now they've had two that they're gonna, if they had to cancel two.
These housewives are out of control. Hey, maybe the whole thing is spinning out of control though. Because Bethany and now Leah and who's the other girl from Ebony? Is that her name? Who's part of it also that was in the Vanity?
Ebony shut Bethany up so bad. Did you see her quote?
No,
yeah, she goes, I ain't letting that white woman try to tell people my story.
Oh, okay.
She won't go on her podcast. She goes, I'm not letting that white woman capitalize over my race story with Ramona.
Oh, wow.
She's kind of right. I get it. I see what she's saying. I don't think that was Bethany's
intention at all. I think Bethany has been really, really fair to Jill and to Nene and to others. And she addressed the race issue with Nene. And she dealt with it.
Nene didn't handle her race issue herself responsibly.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that
Ebony's also an attorney. Ebony handled it on her own.
Bethany's cool that way. I'm not worried about Bethany. I like Bethany. Sorry, I like Bethany.
I also don't think Ebony ever got into the game. Bethany shouldn't be latching on to everyone that's had a problem with their network. Bethany should be latching on to the people that put their time and energy into the animal of reality TV.
I agree.
And that the animal didn't treat them the way that they treated the animal. Okay. Ebony never gave it over to the animal. She was one and done, boring. Yeah. She was reserved the whole time.
Yeah, totally.
Like she was part of the downfall what I don't like is that I still go back to what you said originally was that if they had started this around Leah McSweeney, I think they would have had much more success.
No, because she's a wild woman.
Well, they could have shown flashbacks of Leah like with the tiki torches and throwing them in Ramona's yard and the dildo and the pasta dish. And
I mean, that was fun. Stuff. We didn't have any of that.
And that would have brought in those people like
me for like a dildo and a pasta dish.
Well, for a network that could have shown. The network owns the footage, right? Of these other women.
They could have. No, totally.
So why didn't they ever show a flashback?
Well, you know what, though? I'm glad you brought that up because that's an example of something we didn't have this year because none of these women ever let loose. Totally. They didn't. They were always guarded. They were always protective of their images.
Yeah, well, I think that's something we always forget about Leah, too, is that was Leah's first season. Talk about ballsy. I mean, like she walked into an established
casting. That was great casting.
But
that wasn't ballsy. That was picking the right people. They didn't pick the right people. They don't know how to have fun.
I know, but when you have 6 women that are trying to learn how to have fun together on one season compared to one woman trying to get involved with a group of 5 people that have been friends for years, it's a lot easier for them all to have fun. But I give Leah credit for
she jumped right in.
She jumped right in. And what I'm trying to say is that I think that one of the big disconnects for viewers like you was that you didn't see flashbacks of these other housewives. There was no continuity. There was no overlap. There was nothing.
That was a whole new show you keep on telling me.
It was.
Oh, I don't believe Andrew and I had this argument before we came on where I said to him that Big Brother has a different cast almost every year, unless they're doing an all-star year. And yet they judge each season by the next season.
No, it's a competition show and you look for the person that's going to win. This is a lifestyle show where you want to follow their lives.
I understand that.
So it doesn't make, it's not a good comparison.
Saying that I'm glad this show's over. Can we please put it to bed and throw it away?
I mean,
I'm
yeah, we
over
even
it.
argue about it because like
because we hate it. We have to talk
there's
about it.
we don't know the reality of like what's good, what's not good, what their intention was, what
No,
they think
I
worked,
know
what
what
they
good
don't think worked.
listen, I know what good reality is. And this wasn't good reality. End of story.
Oh yeah, what did you watch seasons 1 through 3 of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? When you know what
but
good
I bet you
reality
that
is?
was even good too. Okay, but I know
Of
what
course
good
it was good, but you didn't know about it.
Yeah, but I didn't know but I watched this and I've seen good reality. I know good reality. Listen, I watched Being Bobby Brown. I know good reality. This was not good reality.
Have you ever rewatched season 1 of New York Housewives?
I'm gonna go. I probably watched it 15 times.
You're gonna hate it.
No, I used to love the music they played for all the housewives, and they don't play it anymore. And I think that's what was missing.
If you watch the first few episodes
there was no
of season 1, it is so hard to get through.
All right, well, but let's just stop this now. I'm over this show.
Yeah, no, I'm very well aware that you're over the show.
And I think our viewers are too.
I mean, we are. We hate it.
We hate it. I can't even be snarky anymore. I'm just over it. And I'm over it. I'm over it. And I would like if they come back next year. If they come back next year, I do not believe my prediction that Jenna Lyons will be there. And if they come back again, I would like them to have some fun and not be the same women that talked about their traumatic childhood for 14 episodes, because I don't want to hear it. We all have had
I just don't put that on them. That's, I guess, what I'm saying.
You know what
Producers
I think it is
have to
too?
craft storylines. So
I
do a
agree.
better job.
I agree. And you want to know what? A lot of people have crappy upbringings. And you don't watch reality to be triggered of your crappy reality upbringing. You want to be, that's why Beverly Hills has always been successful, because we want to watch these lavish lifestyles. And I know that has changed a little bit, but people sitting at home don't necessarily just want to hear about a crappy upbringing, because they're sitting there going, yeah, there's nothing you compare what my mom did to me. I'm just saying, I don't want to hear it. I want them going out and going to fabulous parties in the Hamptons. That's what I want.
Well, good thing that you don't control what the show is about, because
maybe if I did, it would be better.
And the network would be bankrupt. So we would love for you guys to follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube, subscribe, comment. We love you. We'll see you soon. And ciao.